Look, no friends, struggling to make friends. It is a bigger reality than what you first initially realize. I think more people need to come to terms with an awful lot more people have no friends than you think. I think everyone just assumes everyone has this big group that they can all go have a beer with or go get their nails done with, etc. Look, this video is going to be for men, women, old, young. I'm going to let you in on a personal story and it's going to really hit home. Look, you probably all know me from the Hustle Brothers. I'm a leader of that successful project we done there in the financial space. But I thought I'd make a new channel, take away from having an audience, and we'll build something new. If I put this on the Hustle Brothers, of course, we're going to get people jumping in and saying, I'm your friend. But in reality, 90% of them are not my friends. It's only because I'm benefiting them. And the reality really is, look, I have no friends. It's why I can pump out the amount of videos I do on both channels. Look, what is it? 830 videos in the Hustle Brothers. This channel has only been created for 2 days and we're already at 7 videos. Yeah, I'll let you in on a personal story on why I have no friends and what I'm going doing. Is there anything? Do I want friends? Etc. And then, if you have no friends, what are the benefits of having no friends, if any? Or should you be reaching out to more and more people? Is it a you problem or is it an everyday world problem? So I'll let you in first of all. So, yes, my name's Liam. You probably do know me from the Hustle Brothers. But look, in reality, when I was, ever since I was like 4, I was selectively mute. I would not speak to anyone. And that would shock you if you see my antics on the other channel. You'd probably think this is a confident man, doesn't bigger than life, doesn't care what people think. Look, that's a mindset thing. I'm probably still the same person I was ever since growing up, but I've learned how to adapt, overcome being selectively mute. Going in through school, I had a small group of friends. I can't say I had no friends, but I had a small group of friends. And then as I entered secondary school, or you would call it high school in the US, that's where it really, when social hierarchies sort of take over it's the cool kids and you've all different. Look, I played football. I had a lot of acquaintances. I never really fit in with that group of friends, and it probably is. I'm a bit of a weirdo. You know me. I'm a bit of a weirdo. I've embraced that as I've got older. But yeah. So really, then I went across to university, or I think you guys would call it college, in the UK. So I'm originally from Ireland. I went across to the UK. So that way, you more or less break away from everything you've ever known, and you have to start again. And maybe that was one of the benefits to me. I had to start again, and that's where I sort of gained a bit of confidence very quickly. One thing about me, you probably can tell from the channels, I'm able to throw the kitchen sink at it. I'm able to bring people together. And I was able to establish myself in a group pretty quickly, but as time goes on, it fades away because I feel like sometimes you throw the kitchen sink at something, you can't extend that anymore. You're only a benefit from the start, and your beneficiaries sort of go away. So towards the end of uni, I would have had 1 or 2 friends, etc. Then, look, I moved back to Ireland, so again, I've ripped myself out that circle. You could say, look, it's my own doing. Pulling away from groups, etc. But again, I had to start again. But this time when I come back, these acquaintances I had when I was over here are 4 years, 5 years down the line. They don't want to know me anymore. So then I would have started employment. And yeah, look, I think it's a little bit harder when you get that little bit older and you start employment, because you can have friends at work, but look, they have their friends as such outside of the workplace. So you can have the banter inside of work. Look, you might go out now and again with them, but they all have their groups as such. And I never really um, found my own group. And then look, I've had 3 or 4 jobs since, and then yeah, my dad passing. I sort of had a choice there, and I've done quite well in the stock market. So yeah, I took on full time farming, and that probably is the worst thing when it comes to making friends, because it's a solo venture. Then look, I'm with the Hustle Brothers. We create a community. We have people reaching out for us, but it feels like it's only for mutual benefit. Really, I wouldn't get many people asking me, "Hello, how are you doing? You want to go for a beer, etc." I wouldn't expect that. But I could class the likes of Dylan as a friend, but the sad thing with Dylan is he's 8 hours in a different time zone than me, so it's completely out of the question. Does it affect me mentally? I think some days are better than others. I think one of the positives towards it, I've been able to grow something I never would have been able to grow if I was going out every weekend. But it would be nice to be able to, I don't know, sit down, have a chat, watch football, have a beer with any sort of group. Could I do it? I could do it. I could easily reach out to people and try and make friends with them, but I think at this age people just think you're a bit of a weirdo, don't they, if you just reach out, "Hello, I haven't spoke to you in 10 years. You want to meet up for a beer?" Maybe it's something I should do. Do let me know in the comments. But I think it's a reality a lot of people face, and I think that's why I wanted to create this video. More and more people I speak in the community, I think it's a more of a common problem than you realize. People struggling to make friends, or even if they have so-called group, is wondering, are you okay? It's not even are you okay, but it's how's the day going? Do you want to go and do this? Do you want to go and do that? Rather than just benefiting each other, getting the news out of each other, etc. Before I go any further, do smash that like button to just let me know that you hear me, you know what I'm on about. Struggling to make friends is a reality. Completely anonymous. I don't expect people to jump into the comments because that can be a bit embarrassing for some people, but do smash the like button. Is there a benefit of having no friends? Well, yes. Look, we all have 24 hours in the day. This is my raw opinion. And you have 24 hours in the day, and look, I'm a productivity freak. Everyone goes on at me that I'm going to burn myself out. And I've done it 2 or 3 times on the channel in front of you, burnt myself out, and I tried to push through. But I think burning out is a man-made concept. If you think back in even the 1950s, you were going 6-day work week. If we go back even further, it'd be a 7-day work week. There's no such thing as burning out. I think if you have a passion about something, burning out is not a question. I think burnout is what we put on ourselves because we don't feel like doing something on a certain day. Having friends does sort of throw a spanner in the works. But then, look, on the hard days and the days where you do struggle, I've done videos on hate and on struggling to sleep. I think just that social aspect, I think having a group of friends is quite good. Now, look, if anyone does struggle with us as such, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a psychologist, completely my own opinions. Do reach out to professionals. But I do think if it's something you really want, like this content creation journey is something I want. Do I want friends enough? Look, I believe friends will come as success grows. Will they be real friends? Look, I'll decide on the time. But if it's something you really want, I think you need to push yourself. I think sometimes we like to sit back and expect the world to give us certain things, and I think the more we go down that rabbit hole, we start blaming the world rather than ourselves. And I'm not saying blame yourself for having no friends, but have you put yourself in every possible opportunity to get that? Have you joined groups? Have you reached out even to acquaintances of long ago? Not saying it's something I do, but in my head, that is how I'd go about it. Especially in the world of social media, it's easier than ever, but it's harder than ever too, because I think it's easier than ever for people to ignore people. And then hate's another thing. Like, people are afraid they'll get hate, and if you're worried about hate, do watch this video next.